Imagine a world on the brink of chaos, where a nation's secret plans whisper through the shadows. For months, a powerful leader has played a dangerous game, targeting neighboring nations with drones, jamming signals over vital waters, and allegedly sabotaging countries that oppose his expansion. It seemed he was getting away with it, until now. Unbeknownst to him, a covert blueprint has been uncovered, an emergency operation forged over nearly 3 years, designed to counter this growing threat. This isn't a hastily assembled document. It's a colossal, 1,200-page strategy, meticulously drafted by top officials in Berlin. They knew Europe's safety was at stake, and they prepared for a worst-case scenario. The plan details how NATO could muster an astonishing force of 800,000 soldiers ready to leap into action. Over 70,000 reserve troops could be called up from Germany alone. But that's just the start. The alliance faces a complex puzzle: how to swiftly mobilize and transport such a massive force across borders, through mountain passes, rivers, and congested highways under enemy fire. Every detail, from logistics to troop deployment, has been mapped out with precision. Could this be enough to stop a Russian invasion before chaos erupts? What if Putin miscalculates? What if his reckless tactics awaken a sleeping giant? The borders 5 years from now could be guarded by an unbreakable fortress, NATO's collective strength. An alliance with over 8.6 million soldiers, ready to respond at a moment's notice. Germany intends to provide a quarter of this formidable force, but it can't do it alone. The strategy calls for unity among allies, pooling resources to create a wall of resistance that Putin could never penetrate. Yet, challenges remain. Logistics, moving hundreds of thousands of troops through hostile territory, are no small feat. Roads, railways, ports, each will serve as arteries of war, fueling Europe's defense. Behind enemy lines, commanders prepare for the unimaginable, up to 1,000 casualties per day, as drones scour battle zones, injuries mounting amid chaos. Hospitals must be ready, a surge capacity of thousands, transporting the wounded swiftly, efficiently, as in Ukraine's brutal trenches. The question lingers: will Europe stand united? Will cooperation break down, or will this blueprint become a shield that keeps peace intact? With every passing day, the stakes grow higher. The clock is ticking as Europe prepares for the storm of its lifetime, because in war, timing, logistics, and unity determine who survives. One thing is clear: this plan is a wake-up call to the world. A potential clash with Russia could ignite global conflict. Yet, if NATO's members commit, a formidable force will stand ready, more resilient, more coordinated than ever. The future may hinge on secrets now unveiled, an intricate dance of power, strategy, and sheer willpower. Will Europe stay safe, or will it be drawn into chaos? The answer might surprise us all. Recent revelations reveal a seismic shift in European military strategy. A covert German blueprint exposes plans to amass an astonishing force of 800,000 troops ready to mobilize against Russia. Yet, Germany knows it cannot stand alone. Its current active military stands at just 181,600, with reserves adding another 34,000. That's only about a quarter of the force needed. Germany is actively expanding its military. It has over 30.9 million people potentially fit for service out of 84 million citizens. Plans are underway to recruit more. Just recently, the German army chief issued a bold call to be ready for war by 2029. To meet this deadline, he's advocating for an increase of 100,000 active soldiers. But even this falls far short of what's required. The real strength lies in alliance. This colossal force of 800,000 won't be solely German. It will be a joint effort with the United States and other NATO allies. Collective defense is the goal, stretching across Europe's eastern front. When NATO soldiers unite, the numbers become formidable. NATO's total military manpower exceeds 8.6 million, with over 3.4 million actively ready to fight. But the challenge remains: logistics, deployment, and coordination. The plan hinges on Germany's role as a logistical hub, leveraging its extensive network of ports, highways, and railways. It aims to funnel troops swiftly across Europe, preparing for inevitable conflict. Imagine the pounding sounds of engines, the rush of air, and the metallic clang of military movement all converging in a tense race against time. The question that hangs in the air: can NATO mobilize this vast force quickly enough? Or will delays and bureaucratic hurdles give Russia the advantage? The stakes couldn't be higher. One misstep, and the balance of power could tip into chaos. Europe's future hinges on a carefully orchestrated symphony of strength, logistics, and unity, if it all comes together. In the shadows, tense negotiations and secret planning continue. The battle lines are being drawn, and the world watches with bated breath. Will this massive alliance be enough? Or is Russia already planning its next move? The stakes have never been higher. In the face of mounting threats, Germany has devised a daring and comprehensive military strategy. It's a plan that could reshape the entire landscape of European defense. Imagine a force so massive, it could turn the tide of any conflict, yet the true challenge isn't just assembling soldiers. It's moving them swiftly, efficiently, ready to strike at a moment's notice. Germany envisions deploying around a quarter of NATO's combined active personnel eastward, an astonishing move that could ignite a continent-wide conflict. The question remains, can they do it? Mobilizing this many troops is one feat, but transporting hundreds of thousands across borders, through rugged terrains, past borders fortified and monitored, that's another challenge entirely. Logistic networks will become the nervous system of this potential war machine. Ports, rivers, highways, railroads, every route a vital artery, and every delay, a possible disaster. Germany's strategic planning doesn't stop at troop movement. It anticipates frontline nations like Finland, Sweden, and the Baltic states, Lithuania, Estonia, Latvia, needing reinforcements. These nations are on the breach line, vulnerable to swift Russian advances that threaten to seize valuable territory early. Germany's territory, the heart of Europe, will likely become the staging ground. Behind the lines, it will serve as NATO's logistical backbone, shuttling troops and supplies rapidly. The plan's veiled details reveal a vast, intricate system that ensures supply lines stay open and operational, no matter how fierce the battle. But even the best logistics are useless if the troops don't arrive on time. The stakes are enormous. The blood of soldiers, the sounds of engines roaring, the scent of anticipation in the air, all hinge on precise execution. If Russia invades, the entire eastern flank could be mobilized in a flash. But that's assuming NATO members cooperate fully. Without unity, cracks could form. Each delay, each bureaucratic hurdle, might give Putin the window to strike unexpectedly, early, swift, devastating. Will NATO stand united? Will the logistics hold firm under pressure? Or will the feared invasion turn into a nightmare scenario, with troops stranded, supplies lost, victory slipping just beyond reach? The outcome hinges not only on plans carved into thousands of pages but on the unseen, relentless grind of coordination, crucial, unforgiving, and potentially the last line of defense against global catastrophe. Germany is strategically positioned at the heart of Europe, an arterial hub that could determine the outcome of a looming conflict. Its network of ports, rivers, highways, and railways is designed to facilitate rapid troop movement and supply chains. But who exactly will be moving? Is this plan solely for Germany, or for the entire eastern flank? What secrets lay hidden behind these logistical blueprints? Imagine the thunder of thousands of soldiers booting across bridges, the clang of military equipment rattling along railroads, all coordinated with machine-like precision. The plan lays out a comprehensive system capable of both ferrying forces and safeguarding vital convoys on the move. Yet, one question hangs heavily: how prepared is Germany for such a colossal operation? It's clear they've thought many steps ahead. Because of Germany's central position in Europe, nearly all 800,000 troops envisioned in the plan would need to cross German borders. The map reveals a stark truth: the Alps form a formidable natural barrier, almost an impregnable fortress south of Germany. Troops from Italy and Croatia might take the southern route, skirting along mountain ranges towards Russia. But every other NATO member, France, the UK, the US, must pass through Germany to reach the Eastern Front. The stakes are enormous. What if those borders become the battleground? Germany isn't just a transit point, it's becoming a fortress, a logistical hub pulsing with activity. The nation has prepared for the casualties that inevitably follow. Germany expects up to 1,000 wounded per day if a war ignites. That's a staggering figure, almost as if war has become a drone-locked, fast-blooding frenzy. The new battlefield isn't just tanks and missiles. It's drone warfare, which has transformed injury and evacuation. Battlefield hospitals will need to expand dramatically. Current capacity of 444,000 beds might not suffice. General Hoffman warns that military medical services must grow from 15,000 personnel to a far higher number, capable of handling an unprecedented surge of casualties. Germany's plan isn't just about moving troops, it's about winning a war of logistics, rapid response, and resilience. Imagine the sound of engines roaring, the smell of fuel lingering in the air, as thousands of soldiers surge forward, ready for the confrontation they'd prepared for years. But the pressing question remains, will all NATO members unite behind this blueprint? Or will bureaucratic delays and political divisions grind it to a halt? Because if they don't act together, if doubts or disagreements slow the process, Putin's shadow could stretch even further. This plan isn't just a contingency, it's a warning. A message to Russia, NATO is ready. But more than that, it's an act of collective resolve. Because, behind the scenes, secrets are being kept, strategies finely tuned, and the gears of war quietly turning. Each detail, each troop movement, could mean the difference between peace and chaos. As the world holds its breath, the fate of Europe hangs in the balance, silent, unseen, yet fiercely prepared. For months, the world watched as tensions between Russia and Europe escalated. Vladimir Putin's tactics became bolder, drones infiltrating forbidden zones, signals jammed across the Black Sea, targeted sabotage within neighboring nations. It appeared as if he believed he could push the West into submission, confident his hybrid warfare was unstoppable. But what if his confidence is about to explode in his face? Unbeknownst to many, Germany has been secretly plotting a massive response. A plan so detailed and comprehensive that it could change the face of European defense forever. This is a story of secret doctrines, urgent preparations, and the terrifying possibility of a clash that could ignite the continent. And the most shocking part? The plan involves deploying an army of 800,000 soldiers in a matter of days. Imagine a blueprint crafted in silence over 2.5 years, emerging now into the light. It's a 1,200-page dossier, every logistical detail, troop movement, and strategic measure meticulously outlined. Germany, the heart of Europe, is preparing to lead an unprecedented collective force, shared with NATO allies, to stand up against Russian aggression. But it doesn't stop there. This formidable force isn't just a fantasy. It's embedded in a carefully crafted plan to send a clear message: Europe is ready. Nearly 500,000 soldiers from NATO's global ranks could be mobilized, with coordination spanning ports, highways, and railroads. Every inch of German territory is mapped as a potential staging ground, a crucial hub for logistics and medical support. Amid this chaos, it's a game of precision, timing, movements, and the unyielding will to defend. The question echoes in the air: will alliance members unite fast enough? Because delays, debate, hesitation, these could become the deadliest enemies. Russia's leader might believe he can break through Europe's defenses, but the truth is far more complex, and far more dangerous for him. Germany's plan is to unite NATO under a single, unstoppable umbrella, an alliance so formidable that Putin's ambitions could shatter under its weight. The numbers are staggering. Germany's active force stands at just over 180,000, with reserves of 34,000. That's less than a quarter of what's planned. But with a vast pool of potential recruits, over 30 million individuals across Germany alone, the plan is to expand rapidly. By 2029, Berlin believes it must have added another 100,000 troops. And yet, that remains only a fragment of the full force needed. Europe's strategic geography plays into this as well. The Alps form a natural barrier, forcing troop movements through central Germany, right through the heart of NATO's most powerful nations like France, the UK, and the United States. Every step they take could determine the outcome of a conflict that threatens global stability. And it's not just frontline combat. Germany is preparing for the aftermath, the wounded, the chaos of battlefield injuries, by expanding hospital capacity to handle up to 15,000 casualties per day. Drone warfare, rapid evacuations, and medical logistics are all studied to minimize chaos and maximize survival. The stakes are terrifyingly high. All of this points to one truth: a war with Russia would not only overhaul security in Europe but shake the global balance. Germany's meticulous planning, hidden beneath layers of secrecy, aims to deter Putin at every turn. Yet, beneath the surface lies uncertainty. Has Germany truly enlisted all NATO partners? Or is it quietly preparing to face the threat alone? The sound of marching troops, the hum of logistical convoys, the distant rumble of war, these could soon become a reality. A new chapter in European history is being written in shadows, with consequences that could reshape the world order forever. The question remains, will NATO stand united or fall apart just when it's needed most? The European Union's stance on NATO no longer seems distant or theoretical. The threat from Russia has become a stark reality. It's no longer a matter of someday in the future, it's happening now. Some influential voices in Germany are already pushing for the country to be prepared for war. Could this be a coincidence? Or is this the unveiling of Berlin's secret strategy, designed to catch Russia off guard? Recently, a shocking revelation emerged. Germany has crafted an extensive war plan, stretching over 1,200 pages. This blueprint details what would happen if Russia pushes too far. It's a comprehensive document, meticulously outlining troop deployments, logistics, and battlefield strategies. The goal? To send a clear warning to Moscow: Europe is ready, and we're not backing down. For months, German officials have been quietly preparing these plans, knowing full well that a true conflict could erupt at any moment. But what does this plan really include? The most startling part is the preparation for deploying an army of 800,000 soldiers. This force would be assembled from Germany, NATO allies, and other members, ready to move into battle if Putin escalates. Currently, Germany's active military is just over 180,000, with reserves adding roughly 34,000 more. That's far below the projected numbers. So, how can Germany bridge this gap? They're already planning to boost their forces by an additional 100,000 soldiers, but even that isn't enough. Instead, the emphasis is on collective strength, an alliance ready to stand against aggression. NATO itself boasts over 8.6 million military personnel, with roughly 3.4 million actively serving. If the alliance commits just a quarter of those forces to the Eastern Front, it's a staggering number, potentially enough to contain Russia's ambitions. The challenge, however, isn't just gathering troops but moving them quickly. Logistics could be the difference between victory and defeat. Germany's secret plan includes detailed strategies for using ports, roads, bridges, and railways to shuttle armies with precision and speed. Imagine thousands of soldiers moving out, the rumble of armored vehicles over concrete, the scent of fuel filling the air. Every second counts. Without a seamless logistical network, even the most impressive force could become a sitting target. Germany understands this intimately. It's planning ahead, not just for deployment, but for supply lines and medical support. They anticipate up to 1,000 casualties daily in a brutal conflict, requiring at least 15,000 hospital beds. The war's nature, influenced heavily by drone warfare, demands advanced medical and logistical preparations. All these details point to a deliberate, meticulously crafted strategy, one designed to deter Russia from aggressive moves. A key element is ensuring NATO's unity. If all members are aware and committed, the alliance becomes an impenetrable wall. But this hinges on cooperation. If Germany's plan remains a secret, delays, debates, and misalignments could allow Putin to strike first. Yet, if NATO stands united from the start, the odds shift dramatically. Russia would face an unprecedented alliance ready to strike back with overwhelming force. This secret plan reveals more than just military readiness, it's a bold message to Moscow. It signals resolve, unity, and preparation on an extraordinary scale. But the question remains, will it work? Can Germany, along with NATO, turn this blueprint into a reality? The stakes have never been higher. The world watches as the silent preparations escalate, and the possibility of war inches closer with each passing day. Now, every move, every troop, and every logistic detail could determine the fate of millions. For months, Europe's peace has been hanging by a fragile thread. Behind the scenes, a shadow war has been raging, drones probing forbidden skies, signals jamming across the Black Sea, covert sabotage attempts aimed at destabilizing nations. Vladimir Putin believed he was invisible, unstoppable. His hybrid tactics pushed boundaries, daring the world to react. But he was wrong, dangerously wrong. Unbeknownst to him, a secret German military blueprint was unfolding, a plan so vast it could reshape the future of warfare. Over 2 years in the making, this 1,200-page document reveals an unstoppable force of 800,000 NATO soldiers ready to deploy at a moment's notice. Imagine a steel storm, soldiers, tanks, logistics, all coordinated with relentless precision. The message to Russia? Cross that line, and face the might of a united Europe prepared to fight. But how feasible is this massive operation? Current German forces number just over 180,000 active troops, with reserves bringing that to around 220,000. That's barely a quarter of what's needed. Still, Germany has a plan. It aims to recruit an additional 100,000 soldiers by 2029, enough to bolster its ranks. More than that, the blueprint envisions a coalition of NATO nations, America, France, the UK, all working together seamlessly. The goal? To create a war machine that can crush any Russian advance before it even starts. Yet, logistics remain the biggest challenge. Moving hundreds of thousands of troops from across Europe requires more than just numbers. It demands infrastructure, roads, ports, railways, and the ability to keep soldiers supplied and protected on the move. Germany's strategy revolves around turning its territory into a logistics hub, with ports and highways acting as lifelines. This isn't just planning, it's a meticulous operation designed for rapid deployment and sustainment. Think of the roar of engines, the crunch of gravel under truck wheels, a symphony of coordinated hustle across borders. And what about attacking nations on Russia's doorstep? Finland, the Baltic states, soon, they could become fierce battlegrounds. NATO anticipates that Putin's forces will rely heavily on mechanized units, tanks, and drones. Preparing for this, Germany is also stockpiling ammunition and modern weaponry, like the MQ-9 Reapers, advanced drones perfect for tracking and strikes. The terrifying truth? NATO's readiness is still far from complete. The key lies in joint logistics, rapid troop movements, and efficient supply chains. Germany's plan emphasizes this, turning strategic choke points into strongholds, linking railways, ports, highways in a web of connectivity. The sound of rolling tanks, the hum of transport helicopters, the smell of freshly laid asphalt, all part of the blueprint for a swift, overwhelming response. And lurking in the shadows is the question of unity. Does every NATO member buy into this plan? Or will political debates and bureaucratic delays weaken the massive force prepared to defend Europe? Putin's game of divide and conquer hinges on uncertainty. But if NATO stands united, ready, and well-coordinated, the tide might turn in the continent's favor. The stakes couldn't be higher, and the clock is ticking. The question remains, will Europe's defenses be enough when history's most unpredictable crisis erupts? For months, the world watched as a shadow of conflict loomed over Europe. A new secret plan, buried deep within German military archives, reveals an astonishing preparedness for war the likes of which had never been seen before. The air is thick with tension, metal clanks, distant engine roars, and the faint scent of oil and gunpowder fill the air. What if Europe's defenses were suddenly about to change forever? Deep inside Berlin's underground bunkers, officials had a single purpose: prepare for the unimaginable. Nearly 3 years of behind-the-scenes planning culminated in a massive 1,200-page blueprint. This isn't just a document, it's a declaration of readiness, a virtual fortress designed to deter Russia from daring any further aggression. It spells out plans to mobilize a staggering force of 800,000 troops, ready to be deployed along the Eastern Front at a moment's notice. The sheer scale is mind-blowing, more than 3 times Germany's current active military force. How could such a formidable army even be assembled? The plan accounts for every detail: logistics, troop deployment, logistics again. Germany's military strategists recognize that moving soldiers is as vital as recruiting them. The country's ports, highways, railroads, they all will pulse with activity. The aim? To turn Germany into a logistical hub, a nerve center capable of funneling reinforcements swiftly across borders, while bigger NATO forces, over 8 million strong, stand ready behind the scenes. Could such seamless coordination be the key to turning the tide of conflict erupts? And what about the allies? Reserve forces, Navy elements, air power, all are woven into this complex web of defense. Germans are even preparing to manage battlefield casualties, up to 1,000 per day, by expanding medical facilities dramatically. They've studied recent wars, especially Ukraine, where drones and swift injuries have redrawn the rules of combat. Could this massive medical readiness be the difference between survival and catastrophe? But the real twist lies in what Germany is doing right now. The country's largest defense manufacturer, Rheinmetall, has begun mass production of ammunition, an ominous sign. Massive factories churn out millions of shells, enough to outmatch any existing armory. In just 1 year, 25,000 rounds of artillery will be ready, and by 2027, over 350,000 shells annually. The thunder of gunfire is no longer distant, it's being prepared behind the scenes. Are these signs of a prelude to the storm? Furthermore, Germany's drills are not just theoretical, they're designed for rapid deployment. Field camps assembled in as little as 2 weeks, then dismantled in just days. Temporary modular bases for hundreds of soldiers, complete with dormitories, showers, defenses, and surveillance, all quick to set up. Are we witnessing a shift towards hyperspeed mobilization, where the nation can surge into action faster than ever before? Could this be Germany's secret weapon against an unpredictable foe? Ultimately, Berlin's master plan has 2 clear objectives. First, to create an immense, flexible military force as a deterrent, showing Putin that any move into NATO territory will be met with overwhelming force. Yet, if diplomacy fails. Second, having every NATO country primed, synchronized, and ready for battle. The stakes couldn't be higher. Can Europe's defenses withstand the storm that seems just over the horizon? If the world could look beyond the surface, they'd see that behind steel walls and bulletproof plans lies a fragile hope, peace through unyielding preparation. But as night falls and shadows grow longer, one question remains: are we truly ready for what might come next? Throughout recent months, Europe has watched nervously as Russia's leader, Vladimir Putin, escalates his aggressive tactics. From secret drone incursions into forbidden territories to relentless signal interference across the Black Sea, his hybrid warfare pushes the boundaries of conflict. He believes his actions go unnoticed, that no response will come. But he's wrong, and now the world is awakening to the storm brewing at Europe's doorstep. A covert plan has surfaced, one kept hidden for over 2 years. Developed by German officials at a high-security military base, it details a comprehensive military blueprint designed to confront Russia's rising threats. The document is staggering, over 1,200 pages, that outline every critical element: troop numbers, logistics, supply chains, and strategic positioning. The message to Moscow? Europe won't back down. The core of this secret strategy involves assembling a force of 800,000 soldiers ready to deploy from Germany and across NATO. Think about that, a colossal army, built not overnight, but through meticulous planning. Yet, Germany alone cannot generate such a formidable number. Their current active military stands at just under 182,000 personnel, with reserves reaching 34,000. Even adding more is a challenge, needing tens of thousands more trained and equipped. But Germany is preparing to expand. An internal report urges increasing troop numbers by 100,000, turning ambitions into reality. This larger force would then operate alongside the United States and other NATO allies, united against any Russian aggression. Together, NATO's total armed strength exceeds 8.6 million soldiers, with active personnel near 3.4 million. That's a force capable of turning the tide, if mobilized swiftly and efficiently. Logistics are paramount. Without rapid movement, even the largest army risks becoming stranded and ineffective. Germany's military has already begun preparing in this area, mass-producing artillery shells, establishing quick-deploy camps for 500 soldiers in just 2 weeks, and designing complex supply routes. Ports, highways, railroads, all will be crucial arteries for moving troops and equipment fast. Germany's strategic location makes it the nerve center of any conflict in Europe. Geographically, the Alps form a natural barrier to the south, forcing northern countries, like France, the UK, and the US, to pass through German territory to reach Russia. This makes Berlin the pivot point of European defense. It's preparing to become NATO's logistical hub, ensuring that thousands of soldiers can advance swiftly across borders, while supplying and protecting them along the way. But the scale of potential conflict is even more staggering when considering Russia's own military ambitions. Putin has declared a goal to expand the Russian army by 180,000 troops, aiming for an active force of about 1.5 million, with total reserves reaching over 2.3 million. These are enormous numbers that Germany and NATO hope to contain with their 800,000-strong force. But can they? Will they be enough to halt Russia's manpower-heavy, attritional ground tactics? The aerial advantage remains critical. Ukraine's recent drone strikes have decimated Russian air defenses, crippling a once formidable barrier that protected Moscow's forces. As Putin loses control of the skies, Russia's capacity to coordinate large-scale land assaults diminishes rapidly. The collapse of their air defenses might be the key to Europe's survival, but only if NATO, led by Germany and reinforced by the US, acts decisively. Germany's response isn't limited to troop deployment. They are rapidly ramping up medical readiness, expecting up to 1,000 casualties daily in a hypothetical conflict with Russia, a number based on evolving battlefield realities seen in Ukraine. Hospitals are preparing for the influx, expanding capacity and medical personnel, along with setting up rapid response units for casualties. This unprecedented level of coordination exposes an overarching truth: Europe is preparing for the worst, and the depth of this secret plan hints at a grim realization. If Putin dares to cross these boundaries, he faces a coordinated, overwhelming response, one designed to deter him at every turn. The sheer scale, the logistics, the unity, these are signals that Europe will defend itself fiercely. But the biggest question remains: will all NATO members unite under this ambitious plan? Or will division and bureaucracy undermine the effort? This is the decisive factor that could determine whether Europe can withstand Russia's expanded military might. With each passing day, tensions escalate, and the clock ticks. In the shadows, an epic war hangs in the balance. The world watches with bated breath, sensing that history is on the cusp of a seismic shift. If Putin miscalculates, trusting in the chaos of division, he might be doomed, his ambitions crushed under the weight of a now meticulously prepared alliance. Or will this unity falter at the last moment, unleashing a conflict that no one truly desires? Only time will tell. The stakes couldn't be higher. For months, the world watched with growing anxiety as the danger from Russia escalated. Vladimir Putin's tactics grew bolder, sending drones into forbidden territories, disrupting signals over the Black Sea, and secretly destabilizing neighboring nations. His aim? To stretch Europe's patience and force concessions. Yet, what he believed was unstoppable might soon become his biggest mistake. Unexpectedly, intelligence leaks reveal a secret blueprint from Germany, a 1,200-page war strategy crafted over 2.5 years. This plan is more than a document, it's a comprehensive blueprint designed to confront an aggressive Russia head-on. Its core idea? Mobilize a colossal force of 800,000 troops, ready to push back from Germany's borders within days if conflict erupts. Imagine the sound of thousands of boots hitting the ground, logistical networks humming like a well-oiled machine, every highway and rail line ready to serve an unstoppable movement of soldiers. The plan is ambitious. Germany's current active military strength is just over 180,000 soldiers, with reserves adding 34,000 more. That's a far cry from the targeted force. But Berlin plans to recruit more, drawing from a population of over 30 million capable of service. By 2029, German military leaders aim to expand their force by another 100,000 active personnel, boosting readiness. Yet, even combined with the US and other NATO allies, assembling such an enormous force is a colossal challenge. NATO's total active personnel surpassed 3.4 million across its member states. Germany intends to send a quarter of its soldiers eastward, an incredible deployment that could tip the balance of power. Picture this: a vast logistical network spanning ports, rivers, highways, and railroads. Berlin's plan is clear: move troops swiftly into position, supply them efficiently, and protect the convoys through tailored systems designed to outmaneuver any threat. Every border crossing, every highway becomes a strategic choke point, Germany's own backbone of defense. Because, as some analysts note, nearly all of NATO's heavy hitters, France, the UK, the US, must pass through Germany's territory to reach Eastern Europe. It's a giant chessboard where every move counts. And what about the wounded? In the chaos of war, casualties will mount. Recent conflicts have shown injuries are increasingly drone-related, with battlefield evacuations slowed by the buzzing threat of destruction from above. Germany expects up to 1,000 daily casualties if hostilities begin. Then, the challenge will be to handle these numbers. To do so, they plan to expand their hospital capacity from 444,000 beds, enough for most civilians, and increase military medical units from 15,000 to handle battlefield injuries efficiently. This meticulously crafted plan isn't just a show of strength. It's a statement, an assertion that Europe is prepared for the worst, and united in its resolve. The goal? Deter Russia from any direct confrontation through sheer overwhelming force and collaboration. Yet, here lies the obstacle. Has Germany involved other NATO members? Or is this a solo effort expecting allies to follow? The future hinges on the unity of NATO, without which, this formidable plan risks unraveling under bureaucratic delays and political disagreements. If NATO comes together, Russia faces an entirely different outlook, one where the alliance's combined might creates a force Putin never imagined. Every member state brings weapons, troops, and strategic plans to the table. They are ready, waiting. The underlying message? Europe isn't just defending its borders, it's preparing for an all-out defense that could redefine world power. Behind the scenes, deeper elements of the plan reveal a high-level strategy, more detailed and coordinated than ever before. It's a signal to the global stage. Europe's defenses are no longer reactive, they are preemptive, calculated, and forged to withstand the tides of chaos. This is a turning point, one that Putin underestimated, and which could change the course of history forever. The plan exposed by Germany's military strategists is staggering. Imagine an entire nation preparing for an imminent fight with Russia. They estimate they will need to mobilize a force of 800,000 soldiers ready to deploy at a moment's notice. That's more than 4 times Germany's current active military strength. This isn't just about recruiting troops, it's about precision, logistics, and collective defense on a scale never seen before. Germany's total military personnel currently clock in at just over 180,000, with reserves adding another 34,000. But the new plan calls for adding at least 100,000 active soldiers by 2029. That's a significant step, yet still less than half the number needed. The plan involves relying heavily on NATO's forces, an alliance of over 8.6 million personnel, with active members totaling around 3.4 million. Germany envisions a quarter of these troops, roughly 1 million soldiers, being stationed at the Eastern Front to face a potential Russian invasion. But simply amassing troops isn't enough. How do you move hundreds of thousands of soldiers across Europe in time? This is where logistics become crucial. The plan details elaborate systems, ports, highways, railroads, designed to shuttle troops swiftly. Germany's strategic location makes it a natural transit hub. Every road, every rail, carefully mapped out. The goal? To ensure rapid movement, bypassing the chaos and bottlenecks that could cost lives and inches of territory. If Russia invades Western Europe, the conflict could escalate into a global crisis. NATO's response will be fierce and swift. But logistics are the Achilles heel. Delays in troop movement could allow Putin's forces to claim territory or destabilize the region before reinforcement arrives. Germany has foreseen this and is preparing not just for combat, but for a war of logistics, supply lines, and emergency response. Another shocking twist? The plan isn't solely about Germany. It envisions a joint effort, pooling forces from the United States and other NATO allies, coordinated, organized, unstoppable. The combined might would dwarf any Russian expectation, making Putin think twice before initiating any aggression. Yet, this all hinges on unity. Will NATO members cooperate fully? Or will bureaucracy and disagreements threaten the entire strategy? Germany has even planned extensively for medical emergencies. In a war with Russia, casualties could skyrocket. Experts estimate up to 1,000 wounded daily in the worst-case scenario. Drones buzzing overhead, injuries often caused by new battlefield dangers, electronic warfare, drone strikes, hybrid tactics. Germany's hospitals would need an urgent surge capacity, up from their current 444,000 beds and military medical staff, to handle the influx. Special training, rapid deployment of medical units, nothing is left to chance. But the question remains, does NATO fully stand behind this blueprint? Was it created solely by Germany, or did other allies contribute? If it's a unilateral plan, disagreements and delays could prove catastrophic, giving Putin the advantage. But if all members unite, prepared to act in unison, the prospect of a Russian invasion becomes a nightmare for Moscow. This secret document isn't just a military plan. It's a symbol of defiance, a message that Europe won't fall easily. It's a bold, detailed strategy, encompassing everything from troop movement to medical care, designed to deter the most dangerous geopolitical threat. As the world watches, Germany's blueprint could redefine the very nature of modern warfare, turning what once seemed unthinkable into an organized, collective front. And all the while, Vladimir Putin's gamble teeters on the edge of failure.